You a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. In this episode, we are recapping the most recent episode of House of the Dragon, episode 5? Was it five?
Five sounds right.
5.
That's what I put in the rundown, so why not?
Yeah. All right. Episode 5 of House of the Dragon, from the Vale to Driftmark and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, I just watched an hour and change of television that there was a lot that went on, and I'm mildly confused, and I think it was good. So let's talk about it.
I feel like this episode, to me, felt long.
Yes.
It felt a little slow, but it also felt very important. Where there are a lot of like moves that were made, character connections or disconnections that were made that I feel like are going to be very important moving forward.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And we know next week is the time jump. I don't know if you hung around for the...
I thought it was going to be this week. No, I didn't watch the coming up next week thing.
I caught it when I went to the bathroom to come down here, and then my wife was watching. Yeah. So, so next week is officially going to be the time jump. I could tell because the actors playing who I thought they were playing were not playing them. So,
I wonder if they're going to do you think it's based on what you saw in the next week? Is it going to be a hard cut to just the new actors, or is it going to be like we see the younger actors and then there's some kind of transition that makes it clear that it's the same person?
The only person I saw aged up, the clip I saw as I was sprinting past was just of Allison Hightower. So I don't know, wasn't able to really glean too much from that. But I guess where do we want to start with this? Do we want to start with her, or do we want to start at the top?
Anywhere, I'll start anywhere you want, man. I'll start anywhere you want.
Let's dive right into Damon and the things that Damon is Damoning.
Yeah, well, because that is the top. That is the top. And at first, I was excited when this episode opened on something other than King's Landing.
Right.
And I was like, "Ooh, is this a new character? Like, we're gonna start like getting a different storyline, like, you know, Game of Thrones, that bounced all around the map," and it was like cool. And it's not a complete. I mean, I guess it's kind of a complaint. It's a minor complaint that so far in this show, all we get is people at King's Landing, and that's all. That's the place that we're at for this entire show. And there's no jumping up to the wall or jumping to Winterfell or anything like that. Yeah. It's all in this one spot and whatever. And so I was like, "Ooh, great new character! This is exciting." Oh, okay, it's Damon's wife.
Yeah, I had the same maneuver.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't have that. It took me a minute to realize that, but I thought when Damon appeared, I was like, "Oh, intriguing person." Yeah. Oh, okay, never mind. We're fine. Right. We're not trying something new. We're reaching back for it.
So he is a straight up psychopath. Then
seems pretty well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I couldn't tell. This episode like solidified that for me. In previous episodes, it was like, okay, he's ruthless, he's unpredictable, but there's also been sides of him that are kind or understanding or willing to play the game with his brother. You know, like
he's a crazy narcissist, but he also has this other side to him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, well, he's straight up murdering his wife in cold blood. Yeah. He's a straight madman, psychopath.
Yeah, not a happy person.
No, not at all. I mean, they're really hammering home the thing about him not being able to, quote unquote, finish. I feel like that's been referenced been straight up shown in a number of episodes so far. We're on episode 5, and I'm just like, okay, we get it. We get it.
Yeah, and we did unintentionally miss episode 4 on the recaps, so yeah, we missed an interesting episode to say the least. Yeah,
that's the one I'm talking. Yeah, that's another instance of that I'm talking about where it was blatant. So yeah, a lot more about Damon's character, and then he kind of disappeared. We showed up at the end. So then we go to a ship, and the king
Right.
and Rhaenyra are traveling to Driftmark to meet the Valerians to propose a wedding. And they said this. They said it was the wife, whose name I don't remember, the queen.
Rhaenyra?
Rhaenyra.
Yes. Not to be confused
She
with
said
Rhaenyra.
she said something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the names are too similar. That's the thing.
Mhm.
There's too many people, and the names are too similar for me. She says something like, "It's something about the king having to crawl and beg for a proposal or something." I was like, "Yeah, why did he go all the way there? He's the king. He could have been like, yo, come and see me. I am, I
Right.
demand you. I demand an audience with you, Corlys Valerian. Like, show up at the Red Keep tomorrow. Like you could have done.
Yeah. And it's one of those where, like, does he want to show that he's willing to go out there and not
Yeah,
like
I'm
just
sure
send
that's
a
what it was,
raven and
yeah.
be like, hey, we're just gonna marry our people. It's fine.
I'm sure it was a showing of good faith and
Right.
all that mending fences and all that kind of thing. But still, you're the king.
Right. It's good. It's,
other
in the
thing-
immortal words of Mel Brooks, it's good to be the king.
Yeah. The other thing that they are really hammering us over the head with, and spoiler alert. I guess if you're watching or listening to this, then you probably watched the episode.
If you're listening or reading, if
Yeah.
you're watching us or listening to us, and the episode is literally titled Episode 5 Instant Reactions, it's going to be spoiler filled.
It's going to be spoiler filled. Seemingly the king died at the end of this episode, but holy shit, in this episode there were so many just like foreshadowings of like, he's really sick, he's going to die, he's really, like, people outright saying it. And like,
oh yeah,
and he's coughing all the time, and it was really funny. I had this thought. I was like, okay, he's sweating, he's coughing all the time. At least they're not doing that overused trope that I'm so sick of seeing, of someone removing a handkerchief from their nose or mouth and seeing blood in it. And then they literally did that later in the episode.
Yep.
Like, oh, come on, we almost had it. Like, we get it. You didn't have to show that. The blood on
Yep.
the floor was like different enough. I feel like that was fine. But no,
Yep.
still bloody handkerchief. Okay, great, fine.
Hey, sometimes when a trope works, you just roll with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the even at Driftmark, oh, do you need a chair? Get him a chair. Like, it was very beat you over the head with, hey, the king's not great.
Yeah, this is and even someone was like, oh, it was the hand, Otto.
Yep.
Or Otto there said to Alicent, like, the king is going to die. Like,
Right.
he said it like straight up, like
Yeah.
a line of dialogue. Okay, great, I get it. I know.
Good old Rhys Ifans.
You're working overtime to tell me the king is going to die. I get it.
Right. Which I'm assuming that just for the fact, like, the scene you're alluding to is Otto and Alicent talking as Otto's leaving the castle after he's effectively
Yes.
been, told, hey,
Yeah,
go return
you're
to
fired.
Hightower and see what happens.
Yeah.
Do we think, I mean, it's Rhys Ifans, do you think this is the last we're seeing of him?
No, I'm sure we'll
yeah.
see him again.
My
don't
brain
know,
said no as well, so.
It might be a thing where we don't see him for like a season.
Right.
And then it's like, oh shit, that dude's back. That kind
He
of
came home. Yay.
Yeah. Or hey, it gives us an area to jump to other than King's Landing. If they do want to pick up a story with him, we can like maybe go somewhere else.
Yep.
I don't know why I'm so stuck on that. I shouldn't be. I like this show a lot. I think this is really good. It's not
Yeah.
quite. I thought last week's episode was great. We didn't do a reaction to it, but I really loved last week's episode. It just felt like Game of Thrones to me. It felt like it was like intriguing. It would like really suck me in enough to be like, okay, this show is, it's doing the work to make me, more so than just being a clone of Game of Thrones. It's like kind of like telling its own story in a way that is sucking me in, similar to how Game of Thrones did. This episode, I can't say that it lost me, but it was less compelling than previous episodes, I think, had been. But again, I think it was also very important. It establishes the son of Corlys Valerian. I don't remember the guy's name that
Laenor.
she's being married to. Laenor, yeah, that he's gay, hiding it. Like it's like I said, it's like established a lot of stuff
Oh
about
yeah,
these
this was
characters.
definitely a very big setup episode and a very big foreshadowing
Yeah.
episode for a lot of things. I didn't expect a lot of this to come to a head as quickly as it did in the episode
Yeah.
as well.
Okay. Yes, I was just about to say that too. Like they set these things up that you think are going to be paid off in like a season finale.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
the conversation between
no.
Kristen Cole and Joffrey, I was like, oh okay, in a couple episodes this is going to come to a head. Like something's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah,
And
or like they're
apparently
gonna
it
either
was a couple minutes.
yeah, right, yeah, okay, and I'm sure we'll get to the end of this episode, but
Yeah.
definitely have things to say about it. So where are we? Okay, so they go to the marriage
we were
proposal.
Driftmark,
We find out
yep.
that they're gay. They come up with a like Rhaenyra straight up like, hey, let's just do this because we
Right.
both
It's
neither
our
of us
do
really
our
want to
duty.
do this.
Yeah.
Let's do our duty, but like you can go off with your boyfriend, I can go off and do my thing, and we'll just be okay. We'll just both understand that, and that's
Yep.
if it's okay with you, it's okay with me, and they're great on board. I thought it was a really presumptuous of Sir Kristen to propose that they run away together. I was like, dude, that is you are moving too fast here, dude. Like you slept together once, like, and you're saying run away with me, like, yo, dude, back off. Of course she's gonna react like that. Like
this one, did we confirm there was no time jump between these two episodes? It seems
no,
like it
we
picked
didn't.
right up, but
I thought about that too. It could have been a little bit. It could have been a bit of a time jump, but it wasn't years. I mean, like in the last episode, they said you're gonna marry this guy, and then this episode starts with them going to propose the marriage idea.
Right.
Like they hadn't even heard of it yet. You know, they hadn't.
yeah, it might have been
talked
like
about
a
it,
month or something, but it wasn't
Yeah.
the couple of years we've seen in a couple of the jumps.
So I guess they could have like slept together multiple times. I guess more, but still, it seemed pretty quick for him to be like, leave all this behind. And I love that her response was like, I can't remember what she's like, infamous or something, or she said famous or
something along
known,
those lines.
Yeah, something along those lines. Like, I can be known for all time, or I can just run away with you. And like, what do you think? I'm not
Right. Do I want to be a sellsword's wife? Like.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to give that up for you. No offense. I would love to keep.
Right. I want to keep this
you
thing going on.
I want to keep
And
this
then
thing
his
going.
response, of course, is like, "You want me to be your whore?" I was like, "Oh yeah." When you look at it that way, it's like you're literally just his side piece. Like,
yeah, I guess it is. But like, dudes in this universe have whores all the time,
right?
And no one thinks twice about it. Like,
yeah,
who cares?
Yep.
So, like, dude, you got a good thing going too, man. Like,
right.
You got a pretty nice life here. Like, you can keep that going and be okay with it. Like,
well, and he talks about like he broke his vow of chastity to the Kingsguard and all that, and it's like, and in that that whole conversation, it's like, oh, I could further my station or whatever. This is the highest we've come, and it's like, yeah, you can't anyways because you took the vow for the Kingsguard. Like,
right,
you're still stuck. So
yeah.
Do you want to have a relationship with the princess on the side or the queen on the side, as it'll be, or just throw it all away? And I mean, again, we'll get to the end of the episode, but it doesn't, like, apparently he didn't throw it too far away.
Right. Is there much else to get to before we get to the end? I mean, the king, like, kind of suffering there, saying like, "What will I be remembered for?" Like they get back on the trip, and he collapses, and Alicent watches him collapses. She watches him collapse, and she's like, almost completely unemotional about it at all.
Well, and was that after the conversation with Kristen, or was that before?
No, that was before, I believe.
Oh, you know what? I think,
because they had just returned, and Kristen was with them, so they had just returned. So it was definitely before.
I think it might have been a reaction to that of, oh, my dad was right. He's going to die soon. Yeah. And maybe it's like that happened, and I need to talk to him about what actually happened.
Right.
Lo and behold,
that scene was
unexpectedly
great. That scene was great. And I think they did it pretty well, where you knew that he felt, he thought one thing, he thought she knew about the two of them, she was thinking something else. And there was a great shot of her face when she realized what he was saying versus what she meant, which she was She crushed it in that. Like,
Hmm.
I don't even really know what was going on, but like it was complex. Like she was like shocked and like trying to hide it, but also like making plans immediately in her
Right.
head
Yeah, it was
and
like
being like,
the everything started
yeah,
to fire and
right. She was
synapses
like
are
angry and sad at the same time. She was
Yep.
like, okay, so she didn't lie to me, but she kind of did lie to me. But how can I use this for my own thing? And I need to like I need to keep all this from coming out
right.
right now. And that actress is great. She did a really great job.
And this is the
Um,
last time we'll see her.
I know, which sucks.
Yep.
But
I've got a
also,
hunch her and the actor playing Rhaenyra, I got a hunch that both of them are going to get the Sophie Turner and the rest of the Game of Thrones bump, as far as we're going
oh
to see them
sure,
start to pop up in a lot of other things.
I hope so. They're both really great.
Yeah.
They're exceptional. And I don't know. I feel like I could believe that they were older. If you just told me
Yeah.
that they were older, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I don't know. Like, why cast a different actor? I guess we'll see next week if it makes
It's a
big
pretty
difference or
distinct
not.
jump. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
I did look quick at the actors that are replacing them, and they look pretty similar. Actually,
Right.
I see a
They
lot of
definitely
similarities. Yeah.
it looked the part. So
But you
hopefully we're
also
not
know
as
that
confused.
in next week's episode, like every line of dialogue that is said to that character
Right.
is going to have their name in it.
Yeah.
At the same time, like we need to tell the audience this is Rhaenyra. Hey Rhaenyra. Hey Rhaenyra. Hi Rhaenyra. Can I
Hi,
do something for you,
princess.
Rhaenyra?
How are
Hey
you?
princess. Hi Princess Rhaenyra. Hi Queen Alicent of Hightower or whatever. Like whole names.
Yep.
We're gonna
Absolutely.
hear their names constantly in the
Absolutely.
next episode. So yeah, okay, so that was great. I really am excited to see more of the character of Alicent because of how this episode ended. Like she is full on playing the game now. And in a way
Oh,
that
yeah.
I didn't in a way that I did not expect her character to do. Like showing up, interrupting the king's speech,
Yep.
and I thought it was a little like it was a little ham-fisted the way that the people you could just overhear two people whispering like, "Do you know the color of the tower when they declare war?" Green.
So
I was just like, that's a little heavy. Like if
So
they had
what
done
you,
that maybe earlier in the episode and then it paid off there, like that would have been a little bit better. I think it was a little like
well, so
forced,
that
but
was actually the Hand of the King, his two sons.
yes, no, yeah,
So Harwin Strong, who ultimately ends up saving Rhaenyra from the mob mess,
right.
and oh god,
The guy with the
Lyris,
Yeah, who talked
yeah,
to
who kind of
Alicent
like
earlier.
you could tell earlier is a little on the Master
Yeah,
of
he's-
Whispery.
Yeah,
He's
playing his
very
cards.
Varys,
Yep.
like Varys from original Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
So,
he's got a plan.
Yep.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. But I can tell, like, you know, she probably is going to try to use Sir Kristen to her own advantage at this point.
Seems to be, especially at the end, after
Yes.
watching him
Yeah.
trying to commit harakiri and her interrupting.
And I was glad that she interrupted because I was like, this guy's just going to die now? Like,
Right.
I guess fine, but like, gee, I kind of like this dude as a character, at least. He's interesting because he's
Multifaceted.
in love with the princess, but he's like, he's got it devoted to like being to the Kingsguard
Kingsguard,
or
yep.
whatever, and he's he's conflicted in that regard, and he's a very honorable person, but also wants to honor his feelings for Rhaenyra. I don't know. It's an interesting character.
Yeah.
And I was straight up ready to see him stab himself in the gut and die, but thankfully he was interrupted. So, and now her kind of having that power over him because she knows a secret, makes him even more interesting character. Like I feel like he's just going to be somebody that is weighed down by burden and bribery and I don't know. I mean, he could go that way. I guess like this very virtuous guy who just makes a couple mistakes and all of a sudden is
Next thing you're down the rabbit
beholden-
hole and
exactly like he's suddenly beholden to all this other information and all these secrets that are being held above him through no fault of his own.
Yep.
Well, through a few faults of his own, I guess.
Right.
But
Not the faults that he thought it would be.
yeah. So I gotta say, I would love if we lived in a world where, I mean, I don't think necessarily monarchies are good, but say like if the president had a daughter and the daughter got married, if just everyone in the country just could stop working and feast and party for an entire week, that would be great. That'd
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah.
Why don't we live in a country? Why don't we live in a realm like that? I would like that. That'd be great.
Well, yeah. That would be awesome. However,
However, this one got cut short, seemingly.
yeah. Yeah, it seems.
So,
Well, I told my wife when we were watching it, I was like, this doesn't quite have like Red Wedding vibes, but something's gonna go
No.
down.
yeah, and I wasn't really thinking something was going to go down. I wasn't really sure.
Yep.
Because you and I texted about this briefly. That scene was long. That was long. A lot of shots of minstrels playing.
Yeah.
A lot of shots of people dancing. Let's speed this up a little bit. I don't know.
Right.
It's just like I get people were having like important conversations to the side, or like things were happening that were important. Like I get
Right, but
that,
like shrink down
you
the
can
dance cuts
shrink
like
it down
halfway
a little
through.
bit.
Where
Yeah, I know exactly.
we're not going to get
So-
confused if you pan from one side of the room to the other. We're going to know we're in the same
Yeah,
room because
we
the
know
music's
that-
still playing.
Exactly.
You don't have to go through all of the
Exactly.
dancers.
Yeah, exactly. And so Damon shows up unexpectedly. He's there. The queen interrupts his speech, looking great in a green dress. She calls Rhaenyra stepdaughter. Is that what she
Yeah, I
called
think
her?
she says daughter or stepdaughter or something.
Yeah, that was a shot for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Shot across the bow.
definite shots on the bow there.
Yeah, definitely setting up some shit.
Well, and that when she came out, like one of the few things I knew from like Fire and Blood, the book, was that the Dance of the Dragons was between the greens and the blacks.
Yeah.
And when she showed up in that dress, before the two brothers were talking about it, I was just like,
yeah.
oh, shit's about to get real.
Yeah.
And it got real quick.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. So let's cut to that. So they're dancing.
Yep.
Everyone's having a good time. What's his face talks to Sir Kristen
Joffrey,
Joffrey.
whatever.
in
Yeah,
like
one of the
way more
Stormlanders.
in like a way more threatening way than was necessary. I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Like,
It
why?
seems.
Why be like you two are going to be in the same position for years,
Or
Like,
at
you
least
should
as
be-
far as he knows, they are.
Yeah, exactly. Like you
Like
should
he
be
doesn't know they
friendly.
had the conversation on the boat where, you
No,
know, he basically
exactly.
disowned her, or she disowned him,
Yeah.
or they disowned each
And
other.
it's even like, it's also like a hunch. Like he just
Right.
goes up to his boyfriend and being like, "It's got to be this guy, right?"
Right.
But he doesn't. They don't say that he has any information, or I didn't hear them say that there's
No,
like, any like
no, it seems like it
evidence.
was
He's
just
like
like
a hunch.
he's been watching her the
So-
entire time.
Exactly. So on a hunch, he goes up to this guy and like more or less threatens him when it could have been like, "Hey, you and me are going to be in the same position, and I'm here for you," or whatever.
Right, because
Like,
he already
we
said
should
that
be friends.
he's the or the future king consort's
Sworn protector. Yeah, exactly.
So he's like,
Exactly.
hey, we're gonna spend some
we're
time
gonna be in
together.
the same
like,
position.
chill.
It's gonna be awkward. It's gonna
Yeah.
be whatever, but like we can commiserate about it whenever you want. You know, it could have been like a way more. There's no reason in my mind for him to be threatening towards Sir Kristen.
No.
But anyway, okay, so Damon starts dancing with Rhaenyra. We're talking to Rhaenyra on the dance floor, and she straight up challenges him and says, Then take me to Dragonstone and make me your wife. Do it.
Yeah.
And maybe they kiss, but it's like obscured. But the king is like, "What's going on over there?" But then something happens. And
right.
what happens? We don't know what happens. All of a sudden, there's a fight. But like, we don't see who starts the fight. We don't see why Sir Kristen is pummeling Like, what happened?
Oh, yeah.
It was weirdly. It was weird to me that they didn't show an inciting incident, and they just showed. It just cut to. It's like we need an excuse for these two to be fighting, so they're just gonna start fighting, but they don't show what happened. It was really strange.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That I was trying to figure out, like, watching it, I was really trying to figure out what in the hell, like, brought that on.
Yeah.
and it doesn't
'Cause
seem like, I don't know.
even if it was like Sir Kristen just like snapped because he's not under a lot of like pressure, he's feeling
Right.
guilt from hooking up with Rhaenyra. He's feeling like pressure from the queen because he thinks he's going to get executed because he just confessed a sin to her. Like, but like show that moment where he like snaps and runs into the crowd to beat that guy up or whatever. Like, there's just literally nothing. Like because you think the last thing we see before the crowd obscures things, last thing we see is what it looks like Daemon trying to kiss Rhaenyra. That's what the last thing I saw anyway. But so
and then
when
it
the
flashes
like,
to
there's like hubbub and like commotion or whatever, and that made me think that Daemon was doing something. Like Daemon, because she said, "Cut through the king's guard and take me away from here." That was the last thing that she said.
yeah.
So then there's like commotion, and I'm like, "Oh, is Daemon doing this? Is he really like starting to like cut through the king's guard to like take her away?" And
Right.
then it's like, "Oh, well, then she's knocked to the ground or something." I was like, "Oh, okay, well then I guess not." And we don't even see Daemon. I feel like we don't even see him
Right.
again. So he's gone, and then the crowd separates, and it's just Kristen pummeling Joffrey. But like, why? Like, how did that happen, and why did it happen?
It seemed like a weird
know.
jump cut. I think that was the incident that set the whole thing off. But they don't give that enough exposition to say like that basically that he snapped and assaulted Joffrey.
Yeah, exactly. Like it seemed like if Daemon kissing Rhaenyra was going to enrage Kristen, then he should have been fighting Daemon.
Well, I don't even think
know.
they were. I think it was just like that was happening over here, and then Joffrey and like he went after Joffrey over here. Like there wasn't, because if you the way it was
just,
like triangulated, the whole thing was kind of set weird.
It was set weird, and it just seemed like there wasn't like we saw them have that unnecessarily antagonistic conversation,
right?
Joffrey and Kristen, but it just seemed like not enough. It didn't seem like enough to make him beat him to literally to death. And
no,
that
not
shot
in any
of
way,
his
shape, or form.
caved-in face was disgusting.
Yes,
it was a disgusting shot of his face.
Well, very well done for what you were trying to convey. Also, very disgusting.
Very disgusting. Yeah, and then clearly in the aftermath of that, they move up the wedding because it cuts to the two of them getting married. They're both like, "We don't want to be doing this. This is horrible." Like we're both very sad and disturbed, but they are getting married, and then the king falls over, assumedly dead.
Right. Other note, Lena Valerian, the not so young girl anymore who was originally proposed to marry the king.
Yes,
before Alicent.
Yep.
Yeah. Her interactions with Daemon. So
curious
where or if anything that had an implication, because you don't take that random actor who's probably going to get aged out in a day or in a week.
Yeah, is this her only episode? Because they have like a younger girl who plays one, and then
and then like you don't have them having exposition with Matt Smith as Daemon Targaryen, who's one of the leads, and like pushing forward with this whole thing without some sort of recompense on the other end.
Right, you're putting more conversations into this already long episode, long conversational episode.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, "This is gonna matter."
This is important that they're forming a bond of some kind. Yeah, for sure.
So
all right.
I mean, it was. I guess it's weird because for all the things that happened, you had multiple murders, you had a royal wedding, you had all sorts of other things happening, and it still felt like a setup episode. So I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing or a weird thing.
I mean, I liked it. It was still like interesting, but it was just it seemed like it's like I said in the beginning of this episode. I felt like it was important, but felt slow. Like as slow and like I can't even say, is that not anticlimactic? Because like you said, like people died, like the king died in this episode, or we think the king died in this episode. Like big shit happened in this episode, but it just felt like a lot of talking, a lot of slow kind of moving, a lot of dancing.
Right. And watch, of course, the way they set it up on the, with the final shot, it's going to be like, oh, King's magically alive again.
Right. Yeah.
Actually,
But it's
that
also
was
like,
something weird with when they were treating him, like why the Grand Maester was like poo-pooing the other Maester that was there of like, hey,
yeah,
I've got this poultice. It's like, no, just leeches. It's like,
just leeches. Yep.
is something going on there too, or
That's right. I thought that too.
so?
Yeah. But also like I feel like we're like poo-pooing the fact that it was like a longer very talky episode, but that's kind of like what this show is. It's kind of like not every episode of Game of Thrones is Battle of the Bastards.
Oh yeah,
Like
right.
there's that's what this show is, and that's why we love it, because episodes like this are the ones that invest us in the characters and understand the relationships in the characters,
Yeah,
which when something huge happens later, we are invested and we care and we scream at the TV when our favorite character dies, because we got this amount of development from them. So,
right. Well, and I guess that's the
it's
difference between a setup episode and a filler episode. And this definitively was not a filler episode. It was like
absolutely not.
move all the chess pieces into the right spots on the chessboard type situation.
Yes, for sure. Agreed. But all right, that's all I got to say about this episode. It's possible that we'll be doing one next week, I guess, but I feel like next week we're also going to start talking about Andor, which debuts this coming week.
Yeah. About
So
that.
I don't know if we're going to be able to do instant reactions because it makes us stay up really late. And
Right.
We're tired people. We're tired old people. So
I guess we'll see. If you guys,
I guess we'll see.
If you guys want to hear from us, let us know. Like, subscribe, leave us a comment, leave us a review. Watch the video, because the more people watch the video, the more things we produce like the videos you watch. So
yeah. And we got a couple
yeah.
new subscribers to our YouTube page this past week, so thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you watching, and I don't know, hit us up. We're gonna do a full episode right after this. If you're watching us live on Twitch, stick around. Don't go anywhere. If you're watching on YouTube, just find the other one in your feed. If you're listening on a podcast, find the other one in your feed. We got a full-length weekly news recap episode coming up right now. But until then, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.